of us will struggle with mental health at some point in our lives, but we'll have no idea where to turn. And our next guest has some radical but practical solutions. Dr. Giresh Kanji has spent 20 years researching the root causes of depression, anxiety and insomnia, and now he's discovered non-medical ways to treat them. That's the thrust of his new book, Brain Connections: How to Sleep Better, Worry Less and Feel Happier. And for Giresh, his mission to improve our mental health has been personal. Please welcome Dr. Giresh Kanji.
Welcome to the project.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes, tell us, why did you get so passionate about this area of study?
So it's a personal journey for me, and it started back when I was 5, actually. I developed TB, and I was put in the chest hospital in Mount Victoria for 3 months in isolation. My mother used to visit me every day, and we were poor immigrants, so she had to walk up the hill every day, which was rather sad, but she brought me some food and love. And the next year, when I was 6, unfortunately, I was in a motor vehicle accident where I fractured a hip. So this time I was in Wellington Hospital Children's Ward, and I was in traction for 9 weeks.
True.
When I left the hospital, and over the subsequent years, I basically had nightmares and night sweats 3 or 4 times a week till I was 40.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you decided to help other people with their sleep and their anxiety.
Yeah, at 40 I started a PhD and started exploring how stress affects pain, and I'm a pain specialist by trade. And that's during that 4 or 5 years I learned how stress also affects insomnia, anxiety, depression.
Which I am so excited to hear more about, particularly anxiety and depression. What have you learned about that?
I've learned that it's better not to have it.
Yep, I agree.
Well worth the time
But for
invested.
those of us that have just been landed with it, what can we do?
The surprising journey in reading all the literature, in the medical literature basically, and that's what I've done, is that the solutions are very simple. The solutions wind down your stress brain, and they are basically sauna, yoga, tai chi, meditation, breathing, and exercise that's basically slightly rigorous.
People are
Sure, you're a
thinking,
scientist.
people are going to be thinking, oh, it's got a bit fruity for me. A sauna,
Well,
seriously?
But you have 27 years of studying medicine, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been a doctor for 30 years, and the weird thing is I looked at all the research over the last 10, 15 years to try and look at the model that explains it, and then basically going through that, look at solutions. And so people are saying, are you a holistic doctor? Are you a witch doctor? But actually, when you look at the research, these 5 habits reduce the activity of your stress brain.
What's your take on antidepressants? Are we reaching for them, prescribing them too much, too often, too readily?
I think the main thing is not to throw away the baby with the bathwater.
Right.
So antidepressants can be helpful in people with moderate and severe depression. And I think it's a case of having more tools in the toolbox. As a doctor, and many doctors out there, basically we want to help people.
Giresh, you're here, I'm here. Quick personal consultation. I do what is called a donut sleep. I go to sleep with no trouble, and then I wake up between 4 and 6 and think about everything that's wrong, and then I want to go back to sleep for some time. What do I do?
Basically what happens is, during the night, your brain and body produce cortisol, and it goes up.
Right, the stress hormone.
The stress hormone, and when you wake in the morning, it's at its highest peak, and you wake like a box of birds. And so what basically happens is, during the evening, if you start with your cortisol slightly higher, then during the whole night it's going up, and then at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's sort of at the 6 o'clock level. So you're awake.
So we're almost out of time. Leave us with a couple of really practical tips then.
Basically, to treat insomnia, anxiety, depression, you want to develop habits for life. It's not about how you're going to be next week, 3 months. It's how you're going to be in 30, 40 years' time. And the effects of basically insomnia will lead you to all sorts of illnesses, including obesity, diabetes, depression, as well as dementia.
Well, there is a whole lot more about this in Dr. Kanji's book. It's called Brain Connections, and it's out now. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Giresh Kanji.
Great stuff.